Can you hear that? Can you hear it? Unfortunately, it's time. I won't make you watch. I'll be back in a minute. Yep. That's a problem. Fortunately, I don't think it's actually too bad. I haven't checked yet. It's been a little while, and I've been doing some stuff, so I haven't checked. Let's see what we got. Oh, okay. And yeah, that's quite a bit. I was going to say, I know that I've collected at least... I've gone into the enclosure and pulled out at least 2. So that's not insignificant. Interesting. Is the hopper full as well? Can I reach that? Yes, okay. Well, I guess I'll have to work on that. Anyway. Hello, my name is Chuck Ross, and we're playing Minecraft. And, whoops. I keep doing that. Today, we are going to be working on the storage building, finally. Been putting it off for far too long. We can finally get that thing going. How do I want to get in there? If you have an idea, I could do another layer of the bushes. I feel like that might be overkill, though. I could also do, maybe just half slabs? Half slabs might work. But I'm not entirely sure which one I want to go with. So, we'll have to figure that out. Anyway, let me get this, and I will meet you and explain my cunning plan. As much as I've loved living out of this little hole in the wall, I have definitely outgrown it, and I probably outgrew it 5 or 6 episodes ago. So I had to add 3 more chests to the bottom, and they're already kind of taking up space. I got this one full of vines mostly. I've got these chests out here. I've got 2 more chests out there. I've got a couple in that house. I think this one just has some grass and copper. And yeah, so I need a storage room. I really do. And the plan was always to put it here, and that's what we're going with. But I wanted to talk about kind of what we're going for here. So, actually, I should probably get up there. So what we're looking at is the cathedral that is going to be the storage room. I've played around with a couple of different sizes for it so far, and this seems to be about the size that I'm looking at. This is pretty much what I've been doing, is just like putting down a couple, deciding if that looks right, running away, coming up here, doing that a couple of times. The only thing I'm not entirely sure about, and I was talking to a friend of mine about this problem I was having, and they suggested actually just taking this out to the edge and sort of incorporating this terrain holder backer, the wall, into the design of the longer sections of the cathedral here. So from the top, we have the main entrance. We're going to have, I guess, the other entrance, which is going to be on this side. And I think I'm going to have doors on all of the cardinal directions that will enter, or doors on all the cardinal directions that are going to allow me to enter from any of those directions. And then I think in this middle section there's going to be a tower probably. What I haven't decided yet is the size overall. So the entranceways I know are going to come up here, and I think these are going to be inside the building. But as far as this goes, I don't know how wide I want the inside of the building to be. So I think, let's try just marking this out live. So let's go see what happens if we do this. And we'll do that on this side as well. Am I out? I'm out. That's fine. We'll use this. Okay, so I think I do like that size. I don't know about the front here. That looks weird to me. So maybe I'll bring this width all the way out to the end here. And then I can... Let me play around with it a little bit more. Okay, I think I do like that width. I think the side entrances are going to need to be a little bit wider. I've been aligning them on the... I found out those are called buttresses. That's what that is. on the wall. I think I'm going to take that one down one more on either side. Maybe that makes it look a little more proportional. All right, I think this is actually the shape that I think I'm happy with this. So I brought these out. I left these in case I didn't like it, so those are just remnants there. But yeah, so this is the center point. That is, I want to say the 28th block. If you count from either side, that's 28, like going from the either long end. It's not exactly in the middle there between these two, because that's kind of more shifted to one side, which is actually for the better for me. With all the different farms and things that are going to be dotted around, having those shifted out a little bit more makes more sense to me. So I think I'm just going to start getting some tough blocks down and actually laying this thing out a little bit. All right, it's official. Construction has begun on day 797. Cool. Speaking of, unfortunately, I had a good idea, and that was to incorporate more of the deep slate into this because it's going to be connected to the retaining wall to begin with. So because I want this to be on the second level, or the second block is going to be the floor, I'm going to rip out the two bottom layers, replace them with the deep slate. I'm contemplating if I'm going to replace the sign. I might just leave it there. We'll see. Cornerstones are usually different anyway, like the special one, so we'll see what that looks like. Alright, so now that I got the platform down, which I think that's where I want it, I'm pretty happy with that. The next part is to take these walls up, I think, 4 or 5 more. Just popping back in to say that I went ahead and replaced them all with the deep slate, and then realized that it's not bad, but it's a little flat, so I decided to bring the tough layer in by one, and do the stairs on the second layer of the deep slate. It's going to be a little work replacing all of it, but it is what it is. I think it'll look better in the end. And this part, unfortunately, I'm going to have to pull out all of the terraforming I did here, all the little shrubs and stuff, because they're going to be a platform and staircases and stuff. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. So I did this time what I probably should have done to begin with, which was stick to wireframing. I've never really done that before. Like maybe with dirt sometimes, but really not with anything terribly important, more just figuring out where I want things. Anyway, so the top section is actually going to be the stone bricks. And that's going to go all the way into the center there. And this is going to be a little bit of a roof thing. I think this is 6 blocks tall, if I recall. So yeah, I think just got a little bit more work to do. I'm pleasantly surprised at how non-resource intensive this has been. I went ahead and changed the brick behind this and decided to make this a, I think it's a Unicode text, so it's just a little fancier. But yeah, pretty happy with it so far. I'm going to get this up, and while I do this, maybe like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. I'll get back to work. Oh man. I am so incredibly pleased with the way this is turning out. Progress is a little slow. Had to take a break. Go to bed. Whoa, that's not good. Okay. But I wanted to show, aside from the progress on that, I wanted to show a little bit of my thought process behind the texturing on this part of the wall. Tough is very different. I mean, as obviously as incredibly similar as it is to regular stone blocks. It's very different because it doesn't have any of the cracked variety, and it doesn't have the mossy variant. So you kind of are stuck with the, I guess, the polished or the rough, and then if you wanted to, you could go in and do some of the chiseled or the other kind. I don't remember what that looks like. Yeah, the chisel, yeah. um, so originally I was going to use the regular tough as like the main weathering, and then the polished for the sort of accents like I did over there, and I feel like I do that pretty normally with the brick types. But because I don't have that option with this, or I'm sorry, because with this one I'm going to have cracked variants and I'm going to have mossy variants, and I might throw in a couple pieces of cobblestone. I wanted to keep the kind of very rough textures to a minimal so that it matches the top part. I don't know if that's going to make a huge difference. I guess we will find out. But yeah, if I find anything else interesting to say, I'll come back in. So, see you in a bit. I just wanted to bring you guys back in so that I could show you kind of the method that I found works for me when doing some of this. Is I'll go through, whoops, and I'll play through most of the larger sections of, I guess this is what is that? Smooth tough, yeah. And then I will come in and just kind of somewhere along that, I will come back and just add one, maybe two pieces of tough, the rough stuff. And I have found that that is usually pretty good. As you can see, I have a roof on now. That was the biggest easy change that I could make, that I was like, well, I don't need to like talk to people for this. It's just putting on a roof. I did want to say, so we have this method, which I didn't really start doing until, or I stopped kind of doing. And then we have the method I was showing you over there. This was a different one that I'm not going to use for this build. I'm going to have to redo this wall. But I will be doing something similar on a future build, I'm sure. The idea being that you kind of take the roughest looking block and then you sort of you go out from there, like everything's radiating out from that. So that's what I did with this. I'll do that on a different build. I know I'm going to do that at some other point. This is just not the place. But let me get up on this scaffolding and I can kind of show you what we're looking at so far. Pretty pleased with it. There's a couple of things that I'm going to have to change of, not really plans, just things I had in mind to do. But yeah, I'm very pleased with how this is coming along. One thing that I've been struggling with is figuring out how tall I actually want this. So like, obviously if I wanted this to be super imposing on like the surrounding area, I would keep taking these way up. But it just kind of didn't fit the scale of everything in the area. So I decided against that. I might do a central tower, like a bell or something. Not sure yet. Obviously haven't gotten the whole roofing on because it's a little bit more intensive as far as materials go than I originally thought. Probably gonna get the floor in here soon-ish. Gonna do the second layer. That one basically the same as this. First, second layer same as the first. But that is what I've got going on. So hope you guys enjoyed so far. This has been a lot of fun. This has been a lot more work than I expected, which is kind of silly considering the size of this thing. But yeah, so I'll get back to work, and I'll probably come back when I start doing some of the more interesting exterior stuff. But yeah, see you in a bit. Well, I am just about finishing up the texturing, but I wanted to sort of walk through the actual process that I'm using for texturing these larger portions of the wall. So, I brought you to the inside of where we're doing it. There we go. If this looks like overkill as far as the scaffolding goes, it probably is, but I have more bamboo than I know what to do with, and a spider farm, which means that I've got more string that I know what to do with. So what I've been doing is, with a giant long wall like this, I'll come through and decide that my main block, which I've been doing for the rest of these, is going to be the cracked cobblestone. That's the block that I'm sort of building them all off of. So I'll come through, and with a wall this size, I'll come in and put in a giant strip or something like this. And to make things a lot easier on yourself, it is perfectly fine to take the wall pattern over here and just run all the way to the other end and do the exact same thing. Especially if from the outside it's going to be covered by other things, because eventually, next episode, unfortunately, we're going to have to break this up into 2 episodes. It's just too much. But eventually there's going to be what's called flying buttresses on the outside, which I'll show you when we get there. But yeah, so you just take the pattern that you do on one side, flip it and reverse it, do it on the other wall, and you can pretty much get away with quite a bit of patterns that way, which makes the actual process of texturing these giant patches go significantly faster. It is so much more helpful to just have, you know, it doesn't always have to be the exact same patterns, but I know that there are 4 or 5 textures or texture patterns that don't look terribly like patterns, so you can kind of get away with using those sort of over and over again. You just got to turn them a little bit here and there. So once I get these in, so from here, I'm going to look at this and say, okay, honestly, couldn't really tell that there was a pattern going on, especially once we start adding the rest of the stuff. So we got that out of the way. Now we're going to move on to the mossy. So from here, I'm going to go to one side of the wall and kind of cling the moss to the outside of the cracks here. Usually just 2 pieces per section. When you get like the larger ones over here, which I guess I could have just pointed over here, I might go with like a couple more, but we will get there eventually. So for here, we'll just do that. Maybe we'll just go 1 on this one since you're only going to see it from the inside. And then over here, we're going to go there and maybe there. Walk a little farther. Let's throw one at the top there. And then I think we'll throw another one there, actually. And then maybe even one kind of underneath, like the moss is hanging down a little. Then here, right there, that's fine. And then with this, let's go 2 at the top and then maybe just 2 at the bottom here that you're only actually going to be able to see from the inside. But let's see how that goes. Let me pick up those blocks and I'll bring you guys back. All right, blocks retrieved. Now we move on to the next one, which is going to be the stone. The stone we use pretty sparingly. So over here, maybe we'll go just over here. Well, that's one gone. Need to get Silk Touch eventually. And then we tuck that one in there. Over here, again, tuck that. Again, I try to keep all of the, I try to keep the texturing sort of building off of itself. I don't know if that's better or worse as far as the look goes, but it looks good to me, so, you know, I'm pretty happy sticking to it. Okay, so then from here, move on to the cobblestone. These on this, I'm going to use probably even more sparingly than the stone, although I might add a couple more of those, maybe like up there. I think I might do that, but for now, we'll just go through and maybe tuck that there. And then right up there. One down here. And again, as a general rule of thumb, I like to have them connecting. It doesn't have to be. A lot of times I'll notice that part of the pattern has built a large blank space. I was like, well, I want to put something in there, and so I'll do that. So then over here, do we want one? Put quite a few at the top there already, so maybe just one here. Just kind of barely peeking through up there. And then if we come out, where's a good spot? I think this is a good one. That should be fine. Grab some of these up. And what are we looking like? What do we got? that's pretty good. I like it. So that's kind of the method that I've been using for these. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that like I always forget until I'm at basically the end of the project when I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I like can just mirror the textures on the different large walls. So for now, this is what we got. I'm gonna take care of that off camera since I just showed you pretty much what I'm gonna do with that. But yeah, so unfortunately, parts of this ended up being. It's not like it was super intensive as far as the amount of blocks. Like I had managed to think ahead for a lot of it, so I had more than enough tuff, and I'd smelted more than enough of the stone. It's just so much tedious just laying it out and then going through and texturing it that it ended up just kind of taking a lot longer than I had planned to take on this. So originally I was like, oh yeah, I'll get it built and I'll be able to go through the buttresses and the stained glass windows and work on the interior pillars and stuff like that. But unfortunately, I just am kind of terrible at time management, so I will have to get to that another day. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for next episode when I show you how to do the rest of it, and see you later.